This is going to be my fifth annual review since 2015. So I'm very excited, particularly of these experiences where we really take seriously in terms of how we have done and what we have done and how we can improve better. So, exchanging and frankly sharing feedbacks is only the way forward to improvement. So this is what we are looking at in our conversation today. And indeed, for all transparency and openness, we have a report prepared in draft, and that's being shared. Given Zimbabwe's different challenges and priorities, we always look at adjusting and re-emphasizing, because UN is focusing partnership on priority of the country and what emerges, and that's how we look at it. So it's in that context we're having this conversation today, and I want to share a few background in the context of my remarks. On 1st of January 2019, the UN Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres' ambitious reform of the United Nations Development System came into full swing with a reinvigorated resident coordinator system and a new generation of UN country team. The reform is guided by the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development as the United Nations imperative for change. It is our moral obligation to think and act in boldly different ways as we support the member states to eradicate poverty and to set the world on a sustainable path. In Zimbabwe, the UN country team is stronger and more united as ever to support the people of Zimbabwe towards prosperity and empowerment. This morning's high-level annual review and planning meeting should therefore be seen as UN's collective accountability to the people and the government of Zimbabwe. Indeed, under the UN Development System reform, we regard United Nations Development Assistance Framework as the centerpiece of our reform process. ZUNDAF is UN Zimbabwe's most important planning and implementation instrument, a collective offer of support to Zimbabwe in accelerating progress toward the Sustainable Development Goal. ZUNDAF is a partnership framework between government of Zimbabwe and the UN. ZUNDAF is led and owned by the government following the launch of the Transition Stabilization Program last October and the government's intention to prepare a 5-year National Development Plan 2021 and 25. The government and the UN jointly decided to extend the current UNDAF by 1 year until 2021. Otherwise, it was ending in 2020. This would allow for the new UN strategic framework to be fully aligned in substance to the new national development priorities as articulated in the new National Development Plan. For the remainder of the UNDAF period, therefore, the UN will reprioritize our joint effort to better support the government to deliver priority economic, social, and governance reform as articulated in the TSP. Ladies and gentlemen, under the current UNDAF, the UN, together with partners, and I want to really share a gratitude to our development partner for trust and confidence and support. We have delivered over $400 million assistance annually for various priority projects and programs in support of various efforts. The UN integrated support spans from food and nutrition security, gender equality, HIV and AIDS, poverty reduction, value addition, public administration, governance, and various aspects of social services and protection. And I want to say that some of the demonstration outside the door was a bit of a reflection of that in specific terms. What does it mean in particular areas of support? And I do hope that even when you have a chance later, if you didn't have, to go and visit and observe that. You have seen, for example, under governance, that the UN, in support of Zimbabwe's Electoral Commission, provided technical assistance to the establishment of a biometric voter registration system, registering over 5.7 million people. With the UN and civil society support, Zimbabwe Election Commission rolled out a voter education campaign and implementation instrument, a collective offer of support to Zimbabwe in accelerating progress toward SDGs. ZUNDAF is a partnership framework between the government of Zimbabwe and, I missed the pace. With the UN and civil society support, JEC rolled out a voter education campaign reaching over 10 million people, including women. This effort positively contributed to the record voter turnout of 85%. Under gender equality and as a direct contribution to Zimbabwe's achievement of Sustainable Development Goal, including SDG 5, the EU and the UN last year developed a comprehensive 4-year program that focuses on the elimination of sexual and gender-based violence and harmful practice. Under the overall leadership of the government, the program will be implemented through a broad partnership with civil society, private sector, media, and others at the national and sub-national and community level. Just a few weeks back, we launched that major initiative with EU and the highest level of government leadership and the UN team. The Spotlight initiative will place a specific focus on reaching and including women and girls who are often isolated and most vulnerable to gender-based violence due to intersecting forms of discrimination. The program will also seek to address the sexual and reproductive health need of all women and girls using a life cycle approach, a scale-up engagement from our ongoing work in promoting gender equality. To better cope with the climate and economic and other shocks, in 2018, over 500,000 people were supported through various resilience building programs. Again, great initiative and partnership with DFID, Sweden, and European Union, ranging from crop and livestock activities and development of productive infrastructure, value chain development, access to water and sanitation, training and skill transfers, village saving and lending groups, safety nets, and disaster risk management. Additionally, during the recent cyclone, ADI, the UN family, teamed up with government and civil society and development partner to support affected people in Chimanimani and Chipinge with food, shelter, medicine, water and sanitation, and other various support. The work of the UN is only possible, as I said before, with through the unwavering faith in multilateralism, humanity, and universal values. I would like to take this opportunity again to thank the strong partnership with the government, the civil society partners, the generous support from the donor communities, including the key donor I want to state here, United States, United Kingdom, Global Fund, European Union, Germany, Sweden, Japan, and many other, some of whom are present here today. A multitude of humanitarian challenges as a result of climate and economic shocks. The impact of the drought combined with the continued macroeconomic adjustment processes have resulted in a high level of food insecurity. Over 5.5 million people are estimated to be in urgent need of humanitarian assistance and protection during this prolonged 2019 and 20 lean season. Therefore, stressing and engaging in an interface between development and humanitarian and resilience building is really crucial in our engagement going forward. The UN support is therefore taking an integrated three-pronged approach that strengthens the humanitarian development peace nexus. 1. Addressing short-term life-saving humanitarian need. 2, scaling of resilience building activities targeting at-risk communities and social protection program for the poorest, most vulnerable and disadvantaged, protecting and promoting their human rights. And 3rd, the long-term support to socio-economic transformation and poverty reduction and capacitating various institutions and also promoting or accelerating reform measures, including anti-corruption efforts, which government has embarked strongly as articulated in the country's vision for 2030 and transitional stabilization program. Ladies and gentlemen, development is everybody's business, and participation of all stakeholders in the planning, implementation, and review process are key. Over the past years, we have witnessed firsthand the active participation and ownership of the citizens of Zimbabwe to do their part in making Zimbabwe a prosperous and peaceful country that leaves no one behind. The ambitious vision 2030 requires that all of us play our part and are allowed and supported to play our part. Women and young people must be empowered to play an important role in defining the country's future of peace and prosperity. I would like to conclude my remark by calling on the many partners here today in civil society, the private sector, the academia, and the development partner to join this walk or sprint toward the shared goal of improving people's life. Thank you very much indeed.